Hi, Merrick. I'm Jen Pulsney. I'm the University Archivist and Special Collections Librarian at the NAB Research Center at Salisbury University in Maryland. I'm excited to talk with you about how we have used archival materials from our university archives and local history archives to create 4 different tours through the open source website and mobile application Clio. The Clio.com offers walking tours, driving tours, and site museum tours. To build a tour in Clio, you first create individual entries which have optional and required fields, including the location, an introduction, backstory and content, sources, photos, and a narration audio file. Once you've created and submitted an entry, it goes into your institutional queue for review before going live. Then you create a tour by ordering your entries into a specific pathway for patrons to follow. For our first tour, I worked with one of our remote student assistants to create entries for a walking tour of SU's main campus in 2020. The student researched each of the buildings using digitized copies of student newspapers and historical publications, and then he wrote drafts for the textual fields. I reviewed the drafts and uploaded them into Clio, as well as digitized photographs and links to our online resources. After repeating this process for all 22 buildings, we launched the Salisbury University walking tour in September 2020, and it has since had over 2,500 views. Because this platform was so user-friendly and created a visually pleasing tour, our curator exhibits and her intern made a behind-the-scenes site tour of the NAB Research Center itself. The tour showcases different areas of the NAB Center, including our reading room, processing room, archival storage, permanent exhibit, and digitization lab. In the fall of 2021, our fully remote graduate digital humanities intern created a Black History walking tour in downtown Salisbury. She was able to remotely dive into digitized local history archival sources, such as manuscripts, photographs, and oral histories. Her final project was a 7-stop walking tour that led patrons through areas where historically Black neighborhoods and businesses once stood. Since its launch in December 2021, the tour has received over 2,800 views, has been picked up by local news stations, and has been used as a training opportunity for Salisbury City employees. Most recently, I used Clio as the digital component to our physical fall 2022 exhibit. The exhibit highlighted 6 buildings that no longer stood on campus, and I repurposed the exhibit text and photographs to fit the parameters of Clio, allowing for a quick virtual tour that provided access to our physical exhibit. This tour went live in July of 2022 and has had over 400 views. So a few pros and cons of Clio. Overall, we found this platform to be easy to use, and it created informative and visually appealing tours. We like that there is a text-to-speech option available to allow for great accessibility. Additionally, the tours are accessible as downloaded PDFs for those without phones or self-service. Clio also compiles usage statistics, making it easy to see how many people have viewed your tour and provide quantitative data for your administration. While I don't have many complaints about Clio, some of the defaults on the back end can be frustrating. For example, if you do not want the Google Street View, you need to turn it off anytime you edit the page, or it will return to the default setting of on. Another complication we found was maneuvering the walking paths for users to follow. As you may have seen, the map draws straight lines rather than following existing walking paths. Lastly, there isn't a great place to add logistical information, such as places to park before taking a walking tour and crosswalks within your tour. For example, downtown Salisbury has limited parking, and there is no dedicated space in Clio to suggest using the parking garage and walking a block to begin the tour. As a virtual exhibit substitute, it was easy to retrofit existing exhibit text for the Clio descriptions, as well as expand with extra photographs. We also found it to be a great way to connect patrons to the physical space that we talked about within our exhibit, allowing users to stand in front of a building rather than just an exhibit panel. In conclusion, the NABS Research Center is very happy to have found Clio as a way for helping your users step out of the archives and onto the streets to experience history in the spaces that it actually occurred. Despite some learning curves, we are looking forward to adding new tours highlighting our archival collections in the future. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me at jhpeagles@salisbury.edu. Thank you so much for your attention and have a wonderful rest of your conference.